Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Time for Opinion Court. Please use the hashtag Opinion Court if you're on social media so that we can track your conversation. I want to reintroduce my panel to you. To my left is nominated Member of Parliament from the Jubilee Party, Johnson Sakaja, who's the immediate former chair of the National Alliance. Next to me in the blue, David Ochieng, who is the Ugenya Member of Parliament. And of course in the corner, Edward Kisiangani, our resident political analyst. Gentlemen, you're all welcome to the program. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to discuss the big stories of the week. We're kicking it off with the discord in court. David, is this a storm in a teacup? Because we've been reporting on discord in court over several months now, probably a year possibly. It has not yet split. Is the split imminent now?
For more than a year, actually. For over 3 years, you've been reporting about court disintegrating, and it's not done so. So I think you're going to wait till the chicken come home to roost. It's not going anywhere. Court is here to stay, and you can take that to the bank. That we're going to go to the next elections the way we did last time. We're going to have Raila, Kalonzo, and Wetangula, and more people coming in.
In what order?
I mean, the order will be decided at the right time. We cannot allow the media to decide to us at what point in time we're going to name our candidate. It is for us as a coalition to do it, and I think it's important to look for other news, especially...
Is it not in the interest of the Kenyan public to know which candidate to look out for specifically?
It is important, but elections have not been called yet, and you know that the elections have not been called. They're going to be called next year. The date of elections is August 8th, 2017. We are in October 2016. Give our coalition time to arrange its affairs. You've been told that between now and December, we'll be strengthening our separate parties. And that's why you see Raila strengthening ODM, Kalonzo strengthening Wiper, and Wetangula working hard to strengthen Ford Kenya. And you know that we're also working to bring in other players to make sure that we have a super coalition. When we finally announce our candidate, it's known that it's a candidate for all these people. And I just wanted to repeat what I've said. And you've been reporting that court is going to break for the last 3 years. I think someone needs
correction. We've been reporting that there has been disharmony in court. We haven't reported that it's going to split. Those are two different things.
I mean, postulations about the court is going to break or not started as soon as we left the elections. Someone saying some will not stay out in the cold, some are not used to staying out of government. That started immediately after the last elections. And they have held forth up to as we speak now. They are together.
Prof, is there anything particularly different about this latest dispute that would undo his claims?
I think he's trying to please his party leader. I think what the MP is doing, he is conscious somebody's watching him on this national television. And so he has to speak for that. So he's on a mission. But you know what? You ask this question whether there is a discord in court or not. First of all, my answer is simple. There is no court. So probably we are giving attention to an non-issue. Code only exists in the imagination of a lot of people in this country.
Wow.
And we have been conned. You see, he's talking about Mombasa, and he's talking about each party strengthening itself. How do you strengthen yourself, Anne? Raila Odinga goes to Mombasa with ODM. First, he goes to Western Province, former Western Province, and then he starts saying, you should vote six piece. And he knows in the neighborhood there is Wetangula as a principal. So which means he's telling people don't vote anybody who comes on another ticket, whether it is a Jubilee or Ford Kenya, don't. So he has treated already Wetangula and Ford Kenya in the same way he's treating what? Jubilee. Then he goes to Mombasa, does the same thing. But immediately he leaves Mombasa, who comes? Kalonzo arrives to undo him. Then Raila moves over to Narok and Masailand. When he leaves, who goes there? Weta. And he undoes, he makes sure that he has undone what
friendly fire, right?
Yes, but the point is that as he has undone that, they say they are united, each one is strengthening themselves. You know, they are weakening themselves. So what you are witnessing in this whole confusion is a very, very good discourse, an excellent discourse on how not to win elections. So there are three parties, Ford Kenya, Wiper, and ODM, pretending to be together. But there is no code. CORD ended a long time ago. I'll be shocked if we have a CORD presidential candidate and a CORD party at the beginning of the next general election.
How does it look to you, Sakaja, from where you sit? Good, I'm sure.
Not necessarily.
No, he doesn't agree with me.
In Jubilee, we're used to thinking deeper. The first thing, obviously, when your opponent is making mistakes, you should not interrupt. So that's why I've been enjoying, just watching what is going on. But to think about it, yes, there are indications of a lot of discord. They're not reading from the same script, and many might think that CORD is indeed disintegrating out of selfish ambition by each of those members. But I think it's a deliberate thing, and they're playing with Kenyans and with their supporters. It's a very deliberate thing. What CORD is aiming for is having all of them run, so that they think by doing that they will go to a runoff. And they've realized in the last election they were all together, and being all together did not deliver victory, and there's no new vote they have. In fact, if anything, Jubilee has actually entrenched itself deeper in CORD strongholds. The percentages we got maybe in some of these areas have actually gone up.
So you're saying they want a deliberate split in CORD so that everyone goes to
what I don't know is what it's deliberate, they want all to run, and it's very flawed logic. It's really warped, but we don't interrupt them, so you guys
I don't know what Prof is teaching students nowadays at the university, because if you're going to build a coalition,
you should attend the class. Do you know what I
no, I'm going to tell you what to teach them now.
Until
you go teach them next time you go to class. But if you're going to build a coalition, try to ensure that the party, if you are going to be a member of a coalition, try to make sure that your party is strong in numbers, so that you're able to act the best you guys can get from the coalition.
Well, the coalition already exists. Strengthen the coalition.
Sakaja, the coalition called CORD is a registered coalition. It's not a loose thing like
it already
like what you guys are trying to make some time back. It's a registered coalition. It has parties in it. The parties have agreed on how to behave, because the different parties on their own, telling themselves so that they can come together and say, I have this block, I have this number of
So they burn each other's houses.
How you form government, how Uhuru and Ruto form government last time was they were saying they have something called 50-50. How do you how do you determine your numbers if you don't have, you're not able to know how strong a party is? So strengthen ourselves, then come together, and then aggregate the numbers that we have.
It's one thing to strengthen yourselves, but it's another to throw the kind of jab that we heard this week. Let's take a listen to what Moses Wetangula had to say about Raila Odinga.
Vile tumejaribu na Raila na hatuoni kitu, sasa tunamuomba. Yeye ni mzee wetu. Hatumkosei heshima. Tunamwambia wewe mzee, sasa umefanya kazi, una heshima yako, you'll have a special place in the CORD government. But be the kingmaker. In many situations, the kingmaker is better than even the king.
Has that time come, Prof? Is Raila the kingmaker now?
I think that is the thinking of Wetangula, but he could still be a kingmaker, but does he accept to be a kingmaker? I don't think that it's us to assign, we have a duty to assign Raila his job in this political terrain. He has a right to do anything he wants. He can be a kingmaker, or he can himself be the king. But what we are discussing is bigger, that he is seemingly forcing himself on two other gentlemen. And they are stating that, if you look at what I is saying, he's saying, this guy, we have tried so hard with him, we don't seem to have luck, so he should start supporting one of us. I think Weta is saying, support me and be a kingmaker. That is a forced position. We need a response from Raila. But from his supporters, including David Ocheng, they have already made a decision that the presidential candidate is going to be who?
Raila responded yesterday.
Yes.
You remember, Raila responded yesterday, and he said this, that the CORD flag bearer is like a beautiful girl, and the three of them are the suitors. So everyone must try to use the best language he can use to get the girl. That's what we said. This, and so, like you said earlier, this is friendly fire. People are trying to get to catch the girl.
This sort of friendly fire.
Friendly fire kills, eh? And fire is fire.
Hardly.
And you're saying that the chickens are coming home to roost and whatnot, and these chickens are not coming home. They're going in different directions. But we can
they're not coming home.
No, they're going in different directions. They're not coming home to roost. But you can see through that. Politics is the art of strategy, and it's the art of the possible. And you know what they're trying to do, and they realize that because if they go as code, there's only one candidate. The candidate will be Raila Amolo Odinga. That is obvious to Wetangula, obvious to Kalonzo. And they realize that they will not be able to shore up the kind of support from their backyards that they could do last time, given the fact that they've realized this, they call it their last bullet, I don't know what they call it, did not work last time. There's less chance of it working now. They lost the election when they were incumbents, Prime Minister and Vice President. It is worse off. And, a lot of these strategies is probably my brother David is not aware of, and I'm telling you what is going on. That is the game that I want to play. No. But what I want to tell you and tell them is that game will not work. To my own Bali, we've seen ahead, it is not going to work. So that breakup is real. And you remember in 2013, actually 2012, towards December, when they came together, it was not a deliberate coming together. It is like, back in the day when we used to play as young people, and when you each pick a partner, the two who are left, have to come together. It's a marriage of convenience, and it was very awkward. The biggest insults against Kalonzo Musyoka that we ever had, including the tag watermelon, came from Raila, and vice versa, but they had to work together. So it's been an uncomfortable marriage. It has not been working. It has sired no children, and the legitimate ones that had been sired have already moved away to their...
Let me move the conversation. Hold on, sir. If Jubilee was to capitalize on this discord in any way, what would Kalonzo or Wetangula possibly offer? And perhaps let's focus on Wetangula, because perhaps it's arguable that Kalonzo has, some 1 million votes technically in the Ukambani region. What does Wetangula bring to the table for anyone?
You see, Wetangula is in a kind of dilemma. The dilemma he is in is just within his backyard in Western Kenya. He has already a brother of his who has joined Jubilee, Eugene Wamalwa, and who has been a big rival to him. So therefore, if he wanted to help Jubilee get votes, he must sort out the small matter of Eugene Wamalwa. That is one problem. And already Eugene Wamalwa is persuading Jubilee, I have some supporters I can deliver to you. Remember that for Jubilee to win this election, they don't badly need the Western vote. They just need a little piece of it. So probably Jubilee will be more desperate to look for Kalonzo than to look for Moses Wetangula, in the sense that Kalonzo has a slightly bigger vote which he controls. The Western vote is a bit fragmented. Split, yes. So since it is fragmented, you just need to look for a small bit. Because the main Jubilee strongholds in the Rift Valley and the Central Province, the former Central Province, will not change much.
And in that case, what do you offer Kalonzo? You're not going to make him running mate. What reasonable position would you give him in a Jubilee ticket or lineup?
I don't think that realistically Kalonzo has any chance, any space in Jubilee. What he wants to do is probably withdraw back into Ukambani and campaign for some MCS and members of parliament and the senators if he gets some. And then after the elections have been completed, Kalonzo would now ask Jubilee, can we vote with you? And then he can vote with them to strengthen changes in the constitution, to pass money bills and others, and that's what he wants. So he will want.
But a political career, you're saying, is done? A significant one?
For Kalonzo?
Yes, to hold some significant political position.
I don't think unless he reinvents himself, the old Kalonzo we know is done. I have said this for a very long time, because now, if he goes to Jubilee, what does he deliver to Jubilee?
Other than 1 million supposed votes?
No, even these 1 million supposed votes that have already been split. You look at his backyard. His backyard is already dominated by people like Alfred Mutua. Mutua has a small part of the million you are counting. There are people who defected recently from Wiper, and they are heading towards Jubilee. They have already arrived in Jubilee and they are taking tea. Okay. So when Kalonzo arrives there,
the tea will be over.
The tea will be over.
And this speculation you're having postulates that Raila, Kalonzo and Wetangula don't realize that they must be together to win the presidency. They know that.
No, they must be together for Raila to win the presidency.
Oh, that is a decision.
Can I make my point? Can I make my point? And because Prof thinks
go ahead, David. Go ahead.
Prof, that's why you're not in politics, because you look at it so much from the textbook point of view. Now, my point is that Raila, Kalonzo and Wetangula realize that they must hang together to win the presidency. They know that, and that's why, like I've told you, they are working to ensure that when they finally run for the presidency, everyone is able to say, I'm going to have this in the government, I'm going to have it because these are my numbers. And so anybody claiming that, oh, Wetangula is going to go to Jubilee, to do what?
You know,
Kalonzo is going to go to Jubilee, to do what?
you know,
When they can easily take over government next year. Jubilee has failed, and you know it.
Remember when
I
just want maybe I'm helping your argument.
No, listen to it first and help it.
Yeah.
You know, CORD has realized that they're not winning this next election. If you listen to very key leaders within CORD, I will start with the deputy party leader of ODM, Alias Anjoho. He says he wants to run for presidency in 2022. That means he has accepted that Raila is not winning in 2017.
That's not true.
Or he has accepted that Raila will be a one-term president. That is his deputy. You've heard the governor of Nairobi saying the same, that he wants to run for presidency in 2022. In fact, the other day, I think 2 days ago, he said that the president, Uhuru Kenyatta, will be with him again in the show of 2017, which is after the election. They have accepted that fact. Now, once you have accepted that fact, you ask yourself a question. If you are Kalonzo, would you want to be number 3 in the opposition or number 3 within government? You know, what is there? You ask us, what do we have to offer Kalonzo? What does he have to be offered by CORD that is not going to win the next election? You know, that's the question you ask. So any smart politician, anyone looking at a political future at the ages they're in, will make smart decisions. And those decisions are going to, you know, be shown to Kenyans.
And the smart decisions don't include, in our case, the smart decisions in our case don't include going to Jubilee.
Your case is ODM. You know, we're talking about Kalonzo.
We're talking about a coalition that, and you need to check this. But you need to check this, Anne, that in which country have you had coalitions sticking together in the opposition for this long?
No, but then you can
build an individual party without destroying each other. But that is what
the bigger question you should be asking, Mheshimiwa, is this: that does Jubilee need Kalonzo? Does it need Kalonzo to win the next general election?
Needs all Kenyans.
No, wait. We are talking serious business. Don't make jokes about this. You know, we are talking about the real thing. Even if Kalonzo does not offer support to Jubilee,
Jubilee will win.
Yeah. Yes. It's looking, the way the game plan is now, it looks like Jubilee, because Jubilee won last time without Kalonzo. Jubilee won last time without Weta. So who needs the other most?
I think for us it's more about victory. In a country where we have a government that spends money to buy politicians, and it's now 4 years down the lane. Tell me, in this country, which voting blocks have moved? That voted for Raila. Have you seen Masai moving to Jubilee? Have you seen the Samburus moving to Jubilee? Have you seen Kisses moving to Jubilee? Nothing has moved. Nothing has moved. The blocks have remained the same, and they're going to be the same even as
David, I beg your pardon. We have to move forward, gentlemen, because we are running out of time, and we wanted to discuss more than one topic. The Discord or not, we'll give you a chance a little later. The Discord or not in court, I guess whether it falls out, we will wait and see. But the other big story, of course, we will wait and see. Is today, of course, the president basically declaring the seats of IEBC commissioners vacant. Had the problem with IEBC been a question of systems or of people? Because depending on what your answer is, new commissioners may or may not solve the problem. Prof?
The problem has not been the commissioners. I've said that. It is the systems. We needed reforms within the IEBC, but these reforms, when I read the document that parliamentarians prepared, I was shocked. One of the things you remember which we suggested is that we want the polling station to be the central position for counting the votes. There are details about the package they agreed on. I don't see where the excitement is. The reform system, we are yet to see the real reforms that even CORD itself was calling for. They have been part of this process of reforms, but so they focused on the individuals. Now, if these individuals still come and the systems are right, are not right, the procurement processes are not right, we can still have a contested elections next year. And when we have a contested elections next year, what will, for example, our brothers in CORD say if they wanted commissioners changed in order to have a fair election, and then we don't have a fair election because systems didn't work? Kenyans will get fed up.
Are we possibly in danger of just replacing figureheads without any substantive change, Sakaja?
I will respond to that, but first let me finish what I was saying.
No, Sakaja, you're taking us back in the conversation. Please respond to IEBC. Please restrict yourself to that. David, please, let's restrict ourselves to IEBC now.
I'll leave it.
To IEBC, sir.
I think this country, and when you talk about IEBC, the reason I wanted to do that first, when we talk about IEBC, we should not look at it through the lens of political parties. an electoral management body that is independent and that can give a credible election is in the interest of each and every Kenyan. And for us to achieve that, then we have agreed and decided, to just shed off our political hardlines and look at what is best for this country. Nobody wants an election that is contested just on the basis of faith and and trust and credibility of an institution. So just because CORD had a problem with the individuals, and even through that process, there's not one that was substantiated. But many times, perception can never be measured empirically. We agreed, okay, if you people want to create a system that you will believe in, and Kenyans are watching, that you believe in, let us do it. Let us look at what is the best system. I believe we still need an oversight process to make sure that all these reforms agreed upon are done to the end. That is still very
before
necessary.
the next election.
Before the next election, and in a bipartisan way still. But for us, what is important is to look at the technology, to look at the procurement processes that are open, that you can even rope in other institutions. Because if you look at the officers within the Secretariat, that must be protected within the IEBC, protected so that they can make real decisions, not to feel that if anything goes wrong, we'll blame individuals. Then we'll be able to deliver a good election. So I think we need to look at it as Kenyans. Nobody wants us to go back to where we've been, in this country because of lack of faith in an electoral management body, and we've seen it around the world. So on this one, and I'm sure David will agree with me, it's a Kenyan issue. It is not a Jubilee issue. That is why we have said we do not want Jubilee commissioners or CORD commissioners. We've seen what's happened in Ivory Coast. We've seen what's happened in Liberia. We've seen people declaring one result and somebody else declaring another result. We believe we need to unite our country, and one way to unite our country is by having, a referee who is fair. And especially for the winner. The winner doesn't want a referee who looks biased. We don't want people to say this guy is
win fair and square.
Not just win fair and square. We want our victory to be perceived as well.
That is not what you want. That's not what you want.
I don't know if you're in our head. You're not a member of Jubilee.
Okay.
That is what we want.
David, what do you think? Are we well on our way to seeing better election management?
I think so. And the problem, we have twin problems really of both personnel, individuals, and systems. And this is something that we agreed on, all of us. By the time we are setting up the bipartisan committee, both CORD and Jubilee had agreed that we indeed needed, based on the perception issues, new commissioners. But the reason we want new commissioners also so that they could set up the systems. We had commissioners who had been there for 5 years, and these systems are not there. And just to respond to what he's saying, the law that we passed is actually a very good law. It sets up timelines on procurement. It sets up what Kasaj is talking about, telling us how transparency will be maintained in procurement of almost all of the things that are going to be done, because it's going to be a committee that does not only consist of IBC but all other stakeholders, including political parties, going to participate in that.
Yes,
everybody going to participate in that. We've talked about a new system for transmitting results. It's called Kenya Integrated Election Management System that is supposed to be acquired before the end of this year. There are a raft of reforms that have been proposed in the new law.
You think this plan is foolproof?
Nothing can be foolproof as long as human beings are involved. But the thing is that if you're able to set up the systems the way we envisage them in the law, then the margin of error then goes very low. And the fact that everyone has agreed to this process should provide the buffer to ensure that this commission is able to move forward
You need to look at it. If you want to know that things have already started going wrong, look at the representatives the two political parties have chosen. And on one hand, CORD, beginning with the CORD has chosen people. One of them is a sacked former a judge who was sacked in 2003 representing the team that will choose a panel. Now, does CORD believe in Chapter 6 of our Constitution? The values of governance in Article 10. Because if somebody was dismissed from public service, why would you want to bring them back to choose something else? Unless there's information we don't have. But when you go to the Jubilee side, just wait till I finish my point. When you go to the Jubilee side, because it completes the statement. When you go to the Jubilee side, it has chosen people. Like the lady, she was initially she's a director in a government parastatal. Now, when you become a director in a government parastatal, you shouldn't start doing political party politics, because these people are making choices which are based on political decisions. You are serving the country in a capacity of that nature. You must keep off politics. So in the end, these guys are briefed to go and outdo each other, the process has taken off on the wrong note. They are code fellows who are going to do the code agenda, even when you talk about appointments. But there are also Jubilee people who are going to do the Jubilee agenda. The possibility of commissioners being appointed, and then one group of commissioners announce results in favor of Jubilee and another one.
It's very likely.
It's very likely because you can see how they're choosing their representatives. These representatives are tuned towards political party dispensation.
Okay, gentlemen,
there were qualifications.
We want us to wind up right now.
I'm also in the studio.
I'm aware you're here. In fact, I was about to turn to you.
Yes.
As we wind up, I think definitely this is another matter where we'll just have to wait and see as the process unfolds whether indeed it lives up to what Kenyans are hoping for. But as we wind up, Sakaja, I want to focus on you a little bit, especially because you have put yourself out there as a hopeful gubernatorial candidate.
You want me to say anything about IEBC?
Have you not said that already?
No, I mean, in terms of what they're talking about, the selection.
If you would do it very briefly, sir.
Let us not always look at things from a negative foot. You know, let's sort of start on that foot, Prof. When Kenyans listen, and all we're prophesying is doom. You know, you're talking about 2 people out of a committee of more than how many are there? 6 or 9. You know, let us give also hope sometimes. I think we will have a good electoral management process, and I think they can do a good job. Let us correct them when they falter.
You think he's a prophet of doom?
And especially when there are qualifications.
Fair enough.
There were qualifications for the panelists. And
they qualified.
These people. Can you please allow me?
What lie have I said?
No, the point you're making here is this, Professor. That we know you are a resident analyst, but the point is this, that these are Kenyans who are qualified to do the job they're being asked to do. Why don't they? Are you allowed?
Give them the chance to do their job. So I must wind us up there. I must wind us up there. Sakaja, just very briefly, you're running for Nairobi governor.
Yes.
Are you in support of the on and off impeachment process against Governor Evans Kidero? What do you make of it?
Yes, it is true. I'm running for the governor of Nairobi for that position. And there is intrigues that are happening. First of all, it's very unfortunate, and I must condemn the violent behavior of our MCAs. We were discussing that earlier. I don't think that is expected of any leaders. You know, defeat your opponent by the strength of your argument, not by the size of your feet.
Do you think there are grounds for impeachment?
There are credible grounds. I might have issues with the timing and everything, but the credible grounds there for impeachment. I think it's coming late. It should have been done a long time ago. It's way overdue. And every Nairobian who walks around the streets of the city can see, first of all, the lack of performance.
Here's another thing that people think is way overdue. The announcement of Jubilee Party officials. When's that going to happen?
Yes. Who thinks it's overdue? Is there a timeline anyway?
Doesn't the country deserve to know who's going to lead this party? Your supporters, don't they need to know? You're a former TNA chair.
Immediate, in fact, I like the word founding chairman. But you see, for us, you know, we major on the major and minor on the minor. Many Kenyans and many opponents mainly major on the minor things. Our party has never been about individuals. TNA was not about me as chairman or whatnot. So that process
was that a minor position? Certainly, you imagine that you did something important with that role.
It is about the work that is being done. There is no vacancy right now. The interim officials who are there, who had been officials of Jubilee Party, or rather JAP, they're holding fort. There's Maurice Zuya, there is Veronica Maina. They're there. And when it comes time for us to put in, you know, the substantive officials, you know, who lead us to the election,
you're not afraid of a fallout, are you?
No. There is no individual. I'm speaking as one.
There will be casualties.
As one.
There will be casualties.
Listen, I'm speaking one as a senior member of Jubilee, 2 as a founding chairman of one of the constituent parties.
Are you still a senior member of Jubilee?
How senior are you?
How do you measure it?
Well, how are you measuring it?
How do you measure it?
I know the work I used to do, I still do. But the point is this, for us, it was not about let us get into Jubilee so to get party positions. No, our agenda is very clear. We are about uniting this country. It's not about me or about the former URP chairman being chairman. It's not about that. It's about how do we get the best team, best suited, best skills, best competencies, and our party members know who they want to
the story about what he's talking about and the story about code disintegrating is basically a conspiracy to hide the wars happening now in Jubilee. This was, I mean, everyone is fighting.
Maybe friendly fire like on your end.
In all your counties,
no, name 2 people who are fighting to be chairman of Jubilee.
There is one set of power in Jubilee, but there is of power in what?
It's another discussion. We've got to wind up. We've got to wind up. We're taking a break.
How do you want to manage the country when you can't even have
a break? And we'll be back after this. Gentlemen, thank you. Goodness.
mbaya? Achichibia hajakuwa shule leo.
Amerudia tabia kama za baa.
What are we going to do with Federica now? Her proof is conclusive, Dad. We have to give her what belongs to her.
This is real fruit yogurt. Treat yourself to the delicious Lai yogurt today. Lai yogurt, killer place, killer time.
Two Castle Lights, please. Because Castle Light is best.